MedBix Webcast is a new kind of healthcare media channel to break the silo mentality and foster interdisciplinary thinking. Our mission is to fill that gap and to create a curiosity through different lenses, tapping the passion that guided the historical figures in medicine and bringing present-day groundbreaking research to the front lines. We interview physicians and leaders in the industry about present-day healthcare challenges on our live program.
Hey, welcome to the MedBix Webcast. This is Ramana Annamaraju. I'm the host. I'm not Albert Einstein, but I'm pretty good. So I've been in healthcare for a long time, and I also am a physicist. I have a master's in physics. Some people ask me what is my background all the times. I used to own imaging center. I involved with the American College of. Actually, I used to go to a lot of radiology conferences, cardiology conferences, learned a lot, quite a bit. I was also involved with a lot of American Association of Cardiologists of Indian origin, ASIO it's called. I've been involved with that organization for a long time. So I know the founders, so I place a lot of cardiologists around the country. So it's kind of interesting. I know the innovations in the beginning of the stages of the cardiology innovations. I'm going to talk with one of those women, very distinguished woman. She's Supriya Doshi. She runs a cardiology practice, and also she is running an incubator, actually launching site. She is giving a fostering the incubation for the technology people that they need some in healthcare, particularly they need a lot of help, because a lot of times the IT people go into different directions, so she can put them in the right direction. So she is running that the launch site. She provides some healthcare toolkits. I think we'll talk with Supriya Doshi. I'm going to invite her to the table. Supriya, welcome to the MedBix Webcast.
Thank you, Ramana. I appreciate you having me here.
Tell me your background a little bit, Supriya. Just where you came from, and what is your educational background, and what do you do now?
So I come from Mumbai. I've been here in the US since 2008. I came here for a master's after I was in India practicing dentistry for a little bit. And my main motivation at that time was to focus on creating frameworks around preventive aspects of oral health in India. And so I pursued my MPH here. I did some work, some bridge and collaboration work with the Gates Foundation back then. And then I pursued another kind of parallel career in data management in public health. And that kind of opened my eyes to how technology and healthcare work together to bring about clinical and improvements in the outcomes, but as well as move the health industry forward. So last few years I have been spending in that space. My niche is in digital transformation and change management, bringing innovation in strategy and operations for healthcare sector amongst most verticals, life science, payers, pharma, as well as health systems and academic institutions. And I do help small and medium-sized practices as well as digital health startups through my incubation.
Very good. Let me ask you. That you're running a cardiology practice now. It is after the COVID, everything is changed in the world. So we are just coming out of the pandemic, and then a lot of people are. That one thing is a lot of people don't notice it, but there is a long COVID, is lingering COVID around there. And are you seeing in your practice that you're managing? You see a lot of patients with cardiac problems with the long COVID and all those things.
Yes, we are seeing patients who have long COVID symptoms. In fact, I almost myself had semi-long COVID for a long time, although I'm generally a very healthy adult. And it's very interesting to see. I think there is not enough data out there still to study how long is the long COVID, right? Because people are just presenting symptoms. But we are seeing a lot of that. And we are monitoring a lot of them using remote patient monitoring so that we can continue to monitor their trends and better understand what triggers, episodes of acute exacerbations of conditions that otherwise mimic COVID. And it's funny because during COVID, a lot of us forgot there are other things out there that are normal, normal diseases. It's almost like a paradox. But there were other diseases and conditions that always pre-existed in the world before COVID.
Yeah.
And so, there's a lot of anxiety among patients when symptoms mimicking COVID are presented, but then it turns out to be that it's connected to, their cardiac function, their cardiovascular function, or other comorbidities.
So a lot of these are all people think is a psychological, psychosomatic problem. It is not a psychosomatic. Dr. Eric Topol, a very celebrated cardiologist, is telling long COVID is real. It is all the origins are real. The cardiac problems are real, and it is a must notice that it's. I think we need to pass that stage of psychosomatic origins to the
Yes.
real long COVID is real.
Yeah.
So people like you that you're helping that to collect the data. So as you said, the data is a missing big time. That's a big piece. We need a large. The remote patient monitoring is one way of collecting the data, and other areas of collecting the data. Incubations. There are a lot of technology companies can provide. With a new artificial intelligence and all those things, we can provide that data probably even these. So tell me about you're doing that technology companies helping them to do the healthcare side of it. What kind of thing you're doing? How did you start that actually of the incubation or
Yeah.
accelerator?
So I just started after I worked with a couple of startups. I was just doing it as a consulting, as a side gig. And I thought, it would be something good to test my own skill set out in the industry to see if I even have, the consulting gene in myself. So I just started, small, advising one company at a time. And I saw the value I was adding. And I thought that this is probably something I should scale up and, create a framework where I can do this for more and more founders over time. So that was the reason VDO Solutions was born. The role of my organization, we're not the traditional incubation framework. We take each company where they come, and we try to coach them through the next phase and get them past the obstacles, mainly around doing clinical real world studies, doing proof of concept feasibility studies, pilots, because healthcare is a very regulated framework. A lot of these companies don't have the infrastructure nor the resources to create, teams who are going to go ahead and build out a whole solution when they're still testing it out in the market. So that's where I try to bridge that gap, connect them to the right audience and the clients where they can test it out. I allow them to also get funding, fundraising at the same time, depending on, which stage they are in their journey. But I've seen a lot of the founders just need that initial training around how to be an entrepreneur themselves. I meet so many physicians who have great ideas, but they're not business oriented, or they've never had, ran businesses like they're run, especially in the startup world. So there's a lot that we do over there, and helping women. I mean, we help a lot of women founders kind of arrange, for that work life balance and how to continue to build the business, a piece at a time to make sure that, they can take their dream and make it big.
Can you come closer to that? I think your voice is losing a
Yeah.
little bit once in a while. I come closer. So, Supriya, that what are the misconceptions on both sides? IT companies wants to start the healthcare side; they want to do the innovations in healthcare, and the doctors wants to do the IT side. What are the misconceptions they have each other? What do you see them in both sides? On the IT side, what do you see? What they usually mistake and mistook, or the idea of the healthcare, and then what are the physicians mistaken about the IT part of it?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question, Ramana. Um, on the physician side, I'll share first is a lot of perception. Already you see there's so much information burnout and technology burnout that we're seeing amongst physicians. So the moment you come back and tell a physician, "Oh, we have this new solution
Mhm.
that's going to, solve all your problems," they're going to be like, "Oh, one more login, one more portal, one more device," right? It's like For them, it's more of like the one more thing on their list that may or may not appeal to them. And I think that's where physicians who work with champions, or physicians who understand how these technologies solve their problems, can help them much in adoption, increase their adoption, as well as take that to the next level so that they can work with the IT sector to bring those advancements, make them mainstream, and help reduce their own effort that things take when they don't have the right solutions at hand, and also take that to the next level. On the IT side, oftentimes, if you have founders who have not lived and breathed in the healthcare space, then especially in the US sector, the complexity of the healthcare ecosystem in general can get pretty overwhelming in making sure that their understanding of the market is very, very crystal clear. I think that they interview a lot of physicians and say, okay, how can we solve your problems? And they come back and they're like, okay, we have our list, we're going to put a solution together and we're going to start selling it, right? And then they come into this whole ecosystem and they're like, oh, we don't have HIPAA certification. Oh, we can't overtake what the protocol is for the clinical care. Oh, we have to meet all the quality performance standards. So there is these O's that kind of, they kind of start emerging, like
I
as they
know.
peel that onion layer by layer. And I think that that's where the IT people who come from that background, who want to build solutions for this sector, need to be very clear in and understanding the size of the problem, but how much of their product is going to be a fit for solving that problem.
Supriya, that physicians, there's a AI, artificial intelligence is coming, playing a major role now. So AI, some people say like this, that whether, I don't know what extent is true, is that AI will not replace doctors, but doctors will be replaced who know the people with the knowledge of AI than the doctors who don't have the knowledge of AI. That is the one side of
Yes.
the physician side of it. They must adopt it to some extent technology, and then it is a way to understand how to the humanity in larger scale, and the larger, more the complexity of diseases. I think we need the AI help. So
Yes.
that is where physicians are a little bit reluctant about that, but they need to. That sentence may be true, that people who are not understanding of AI can pay a price in the future. What I but on the IIT side, I used to do the programming. I used to do programmers to the doctors, HMO man, writing a coding. Then one programmer one time asked, said that to the HMO president, "Oh, how much the cholesterol digits? How many digits I need to put? 52 or 35, 32 or 52?" That HMO president got scared and left. So so they don't understand the sensitivity and the complexity of the healthcare issues. So you're navigating your side. What kind of healthcare tools you're providing to the physicians? Say, what do you do? What are the steps you provide to them?
So, in terms of bringing, technology to the physicians, we work very closely with solving problems that technology is ready to solve, right?
Yes.
But also, we do a lot of focus groups. We work with a lot of physician champions who have made, a big difference in this sector, and we leverage their leadership to advocate for the newer innovations that are coming in the market. We help some of these companies win grants, those SBIR, SBTR, NSF grants that can help, you know, cushion some funding while they are trying to get, the evidence out there, publish some papers. So, once, I think the physician world is still kind of relying on those scientific publications that can tie your ideas to something more tangible. And similarly, then the next phase of when you have a product or a drug, then we are trying to expedite the whole clinical trial process to a lot of automation, machine learning, and AI technologies, so that we can bring those to the market sooner and without having to test it a lot on animals or having really exorbitant and very expensive human trials as well.
This is my channel is healthcare media focused channel. I'm going to talk about the healthcare side of it. So that do you see a lot of burnout among physicians, and they are burning out with this the technological burnout. There is a stresses of the families, stresses of the hospital patients. All of them are piling upon them. Do you see that stresses on the burnout factor clearly from last 4 years ago to the today present day?
Yes, I mean, that problem is very, very real, especially because, as most of the physician and the clinical provider population that served in the clinical settings during COVID had to face a lot of ambiguity around changes in regulations, every 6 hours. We literally, had like every 6 hours, oh, the testing criteria has changed. Oh, the criteria for diagnosing COVID has changed. Oh, now we have this COVID and that COVID. And, the protocol for managing the different levels of COVID exposures and the different levels of severity of the symptoms and acuteness and emergencies was changing, by the clock. And so adapting to the population behaviors in a pandemic, which, no one had lived through. Maybe a handful of us have seen, the flu pandemic and still alive to see this one. Um, is something that took the whole world by surprise. But more so, the burden came on these clinical providers to take on that work to get the world out of it and make sure that they can save as many lives as possible. So the burnout is very real. I will give one kind of positive thing that happened, which we all share, is the adoption of digital health. Right, telehealth and telemedicine was almost overnight, and that has now given a lot of these clinical providers breathing room to be able to provide some services, via telehealth or telemedicine without having to be physically present over there. But I think that the mental stress is still there, and it will take some time until things are a little bit more settled, especially so many of them quit the healthcare industry completely, and workforce challenges still continue. Supply chain challenges around drug availability still continues. So it's going to be there, but I think people have accepted the fact that we are actually out of a pandemic, and are looking into the future for bigger and better things.
Yeah, the wife of a family healthcare provider, you understand better this burnout. The first-hand experience you have is absolutely real, and also on the innovation side, you're adopting a very prone to adopt to the digital health. You understand how to solve that kind of problems through the digital health. How do it helps? So there is a marriage. We need the marriage between that artificial intelligence of the technology and digital health, and the real problem of human problem. I think you're in the right place for that. I'm going to do a presentation regarding that, actually artificial intelligence and the quantum computers a little bit. Let me bring that, and you and me watch together, and let us learn from each other. So
Please.
let me bring you both of you together on the main stage. We're going on this side. We're going to watch. I'm going to talk about quantum computers in healthcare. A lot of people don't even know what is quantum computers in healthcare is. When I was in 1980s, in the late 80s, I used to sell computers to the doctors, and they used to laugh at me. What are you selling? It actually first thing I did in New York City. They used to laugh at me. What do computers do in healthcare? And now it is a funny thing. Now the same thing they may say, surprised about quantum computers, what they do in healthcare. That's what I'm going to explain. I think it's better to know. Supriya. So this is about a chat GPT. Everybody is talking about artificial intelligence chat GPT. So I use it quite a bit. It's not there yet. There's a lot of factually, a lot of things are wrong, but still is a human kind of a sentences. It constructs good, but it is on the way. But you're worried about AI, chat GPT now. Wait until you see the deadly combo of quantum computers and AI together. You would not believe that that combination is a superhuman, almost a divine power, is that you're going to experience it. So, what is the I'm going to talk about a Richard Feynman as a colorful character from 90. He was born in Queens, New York. It's not too far from Supriya, actually, that where she's from. And he was born in Queens, and then he was a celebrated theoretical physicist. He is a Princeton doctor. He was working in Princeton, Caltech here in California, and everywhere. He was a very colorful character. He used to go to a lot of strip clubs it was Los Angeles in the Caltech, and then there was a Giovanni club. He used to go there, and then he was not a single guy, but I don't know, he was not a drinker either, but he was a party guy a little bit. So he used to draw a lot of quantum physics equations on the drink mats. The drink mats that you see is that he used to draw a lot of solutions for the quantum systems, all his computers and all those things. He's all physics equations. He used to do that maps, childlike diagrams. He used to do that. They're all on the napkins and drink mats. They are sold for $5 million in auction recently. Can you believe that? That is scribblings were sold $5 million. He is that famous. A physicist from the a club drink mat sold for $5 million from that. That is an amazing. Feynman lectures are very well known. Big Bang Theory is one of them. They used to frequently mention that Kuttapadi used to mention all the times. They all used to mention Feynman lectures. They are priceless. In fact, they are the jewels of the physics lectures. If you don't like physics, if you don't like sciences, still you can listen. It is amazing lectures by Richard Feynman. Some of them are gravitation and all those things. His lectures are very celebrated lectures. I mentioned in the popular show, Big Bang Theory, quite a bit. Feynman is a very interesting. So if you see the waves, so what he did was a science of light and the matter, how they interact each other. That she gave the first time. He gave a complete picture of the light and the matter, how they interact. All of them are X-rays, gamma rays. All of them are light waves with the different frequencies. They're all part of the electromagnetic spectrum, but different wavelengths. That's all it is. There's no difference. If you see a gamma ray and with high energy, but it's moving faster, the wavelength is shorter, and then you see radio waves are very longer wavelength. So we use all of them actually in the medical field. Everybody, all the physicians, dentists know about X-rays. X-rays are those are all how that interact. All these radiation interacts with the matter. Matter is a body. Human body is a matter. How it interacts with that one. He gave the complete mathematics and physics for that. He created a path integrals, child-like diagrams. If you see the diagrams, it looks like a child-like diagrams. He won the Nobel Prize for that. He understood the nature, how the light interacts with the matter, how they interacts with electrons, neutrons, protons, all the matter itself. He won the Nobel Prize in 1965, and Shinichiro Tomonaga and Julian Schwenger, along with Richard Feynman, won the Nobel Prize in 1965. It's called quantum electrodynamics, is a light and a matter interactions between them. Then all the radiations, when the radiation or light or visible light or any light hits the body, it interacts with it. So some of them might produce, and when interaction comes out, it could be gamma ray, it could be X-ray, it could be visible light. It can produce different things. We use all of them in the healthcare side. We use gamma rays to gamma knife, and we use X-rays to see the damages in the body, and the visible light, as you know, actually at the end of the spectrum, all it has to be visible. So there's a visible spectrum is a 400 to 700 nanometers. That's a wavelength between the two peaks. That wavelength is a 400 nanometers. X-ray is a 0.01 to 10. Gamma rays is 0.01 to 0.1. It's just an amazingly short gamma ray. Gamma rays are the burst of energy, a lot of energy there. That's your PET CT scan. They use PET CT scan cardiac scans they use, and PET-CT also for the rubidium, the heart viability PET-CT scans they use. Now, Feynman wrote several books. One of them is Simulate Quantum Computers on the classical computer. He understood the computers and he understood the quantum computers, and he wanted to understand the quantum computers. He wanted to simulate on the regular computer, but he realized that it was not possible. And now the computing is everywhere. Quantum computers, holy grail of computing now. IBM, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Intel, they're fighting for that prized position of quantum computing. Holy grail of computers. That's Sundar Pichai in Google. Google is, one of the things is protein folding to find drug discoveries that quantum computers could be helpful. I tell you about how the quantum computers will play a role in the healthcare systems. So everybody is fighting, all of them. It's just a fierce fighting going on between the competition going on for the prized position of the quantum computers. That is the Sundar Pichai from Google. That is a quantum computer. That is their quantum computer. It's called DeepMind. How fast is the quantum computer? Laptop is 1 million is 100 million times faster than laptops. It can handle the 5 million laptops every day. Quantum computers can handle. I tell you how fast. If you run a prime algorithm, a mathematical algorithm, prime factor algorithms, if you run, it takes 1 million years on a laptop. It can do in a quantum computer in 2 to 3 minutes. Think about that. The difference of the amazing power of the quantum computers, it is going to change. It takes 1 million years to do. On the laptop, it can do in quantum computers in 2 to 3 minutes. That the power, the reason you need the power of that thing, coronavirus, for example, spike proteins, you understand the protein folding and all those things, you need the quantum computers to solve. So quantum computers, particularly chronic diseases, we don't understand 100% what's going on with the diabetes and cancer and all those things. The complete mechanism, we don't have the complete picture. We need to produce vaccines, for example. IBM Summit computer, that is not even a quantum computer. In Oak Ridge laboratories, they produced the 70 compounds. It popped out from the Summit, the fastest computer on the planet. It produced the 70 compound molecules, possible treatment for the COVID-19 in the beginning stages of our pandemic. So that's the fastest computer. They allocated the time to find the vaccine for the COVID. There's a lot of drug discovery. We need a lot of immunotherapy drugs and cancer drugs and all these diabetic drugs. We need, that's a very complex. Protein folding is one of the complex things. So that's we need a quantum computers to solve. IBM came up with a white paper on this one. They say the diagnostics, there is a 5 to 20% possible diagnosis could go wrong, is usually wrong. The doctors are not in the medicine itself by default. 20% of the diagnoses are wrong in general, up to the 20%. It's a staggering number. Not just any particular doctor. It is a default problem in the medicine. So that problem can be solved through quantum computers. That's what it says. The next is a precision medicine. They say so. In precision medicine is that particular targeted drugs, with the genetic things that use a gene pool and genetic process to understand not only that, it is actually social determinants. They say only 20% of the care is the medical care. 80% is social determinants, environmental factors, the poverty levels, the clean air. All of those things are very important. So that is a precision medicine play a role. We need quantum computers for that. The third thing is insurance premium. I'm not sure about that. That I don't believe that you need a quantum computers to reduce the premiums. but what they say, it is not. I give that benefit of doubt for them to IBM. But anyway, these are three things can be solved through the quantum computers. So what is a quantum computer? Everybody asks me what is a quantum. So I'm going to give you layman understanding of the quantum computers. If there is a cheese and a mouse, there is a maze. If you put a cheese on the other side, mouse, what it does is it keep trying through the maze. Keep the series of steps. It goes one time, hits the wall, come back, go back again, keep on coming back and keep on trying. That's a series of steps it does, and eventually reaches the cheese. That is the classical computer. That is a classical computer does. Just keep on trying. On the quantum computer, something magic happens. The mouse splits into the phantom ghost mouses, and then all of them, it travels, all the ghost mouses travel same time on all possible paths and go back to the shortest distance. They form the cheese and then come back in time and go straight to the cheese. That is the quantum computer does. This is a very layman description of the quantum computers I'm explaining to you, but that is what the difference between the quantum computer and the classical computer. Classical computer go through still a series of steps is all at once. That is a power of the quantum computers. So there are two concepts in quantum computers people need to understand when they say quantum. It is a quantum peekaboo, I call him. There's two concepts in quantum computers prevalent. One is entanglement, second one is a superposition. Entanglement is two twin sisters, that we have a saying that is, I don't know, is scientific. It may not be scientific, but just for understanding this purpose of here. So the two twin sisters, they say they feel each other. Even if they are 1,000 miles away, they can feel, somebody feels pain in the stomach, and the other ones also feel the pain. Somebody feels something and they feel the other person feels. That is an entanglement kind of. They came from the same mother's womb, and then they feel they have the same feeling. That is indirectly we can call it as entanglement. Superposition is you have to understand a little bit of Indian mythology. That's a Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is like both the man and woman at the same time. Swami Parvati and Lord Shiva are embedded in the same thing. So they're combined here. Superposition is a man and woman in the same time. At the same time, unless you observe it, it can either become a Shiva or it become a Parvati. It is one of those mythological stories to understand the concept of entanglement and superposition. But in general, the quantum entanglement in more detail is the spin. You can take the entanglement is one is spin up when the two things are produced at the same time, like a twin sisters, and you put them apart for 1 billion miles away. One is spin up, the other goes spin down. This is spin down, other is spin up, automatically without any communication. There is no known communication. We don't even understand how they communicate each other. There is no known communications. There's no phone calls, nothing. No emails. They influence each other. That is called a quantum entanglement. So that is the only way. That is a feeling of the higher dimensional feeling of that entanglement. The twin sisters feel that is same thing is actually happens in the real world. That is a quantum entanglement, the spin up and down of the electrons and any elementary particles you can see, photons and anything. So that is a quantum entanglement. Superposition, I'm going to explain to you a little bit of superposition more naughty way. Your child is there, naughty child. He takes your shoes and put in the one shoe in one place, other shoe in other box. In number 1 box and number 2 boxes, you close it up. So you know that when you're about to rush to the office, you're looking for your shoes and you're going to open up number 1 and see the left hand shoe. Then you know automatically number 2 is the right hand shoe is on the number 2 box. That is not a superposition. That is a correlation. A correlation means you found the left shoe and then the right shoe is supposed to be in the box number 2. It's something magic happens here in the superposition. Until what they found out is interesting. Until your kids put in the both boxes, different shoes, different left shoe and right shoe in 2 different boxes. What it shows, the magic shows that here is until you open it, it will not know it is both left hand and left shoe and right shoe same time. It is both shoes same time, left and right shoes, until you open it. Once you open it, it becomes assumes either left or right. So it will not take a position until it is left shoe or right shoe, until then oppositely other box becomes opposite that one. That's not a correlation, that's a magic. It's kind of a divine. Until you open it, you don't know it's going to take the left or right. You don't have no intervention from you. You have no input from you. It is happens some other way. We don't know which way it is. It's called, that's why it's God's effect, they call. It's one of the positions it assumes the left shoe or right shoe, and once he assumes the left shoe, the other one's automatically right shoe. They don't communicate each other. There's no communication between the shoes, but it happens. That is the superposition in the quantum physics. So these are the spooky action distance. Einstein did not like it, but eventually accepted it. They won the Nobel Prize last year. In fact, spooky action distance, these two things are communicating without communicating. They like twin sisters. That is called spooky action distance. One was twin sister feeling, one is stomach, other one feeling the pain. The same thing. That is what they found. These three people are awarded Nobel Prize. Is alien aspect of Paris, and John Clauser from here, from California, and Anton Zollinger from Australia won the Nobel Prize last year for the experimental discovery of this process, quantum discovery. So they're run by qubits. Superposition is a qubit. Is if you see in the classical computer 0 and 1 or the two digital, the bits either 1 and off or on. So that's a 0 and 1. That's a qubit. That's called a regular bytes. In the qubit, in the quantum computer, 0 and 1 are combined. They are together at the same time. There is 0 and 1. Until you observe it, it won't either 0 or 1. It is both same time. So it's like, to understand the light is on or off, you have to turn on and turn off. You got to do two times. You have to do that. In the quantum computers, you don't have to do anything. Look at the switch. You can tell whether it's on or off, whether is connected to the. If you want to know a particular light bulb is connected to the particular switch, you have to turn it off and turn it on. You have to do it twice. But you don't have to do that in the quantum computers. It does automatic. It's a magical. So, where is the quantum biology? Nature found it. So, quantum systems usually happens at very minus 273 Kelvin. Kelvin is very low temperatures happens in these quantum reactions all happens. But that's why the computers are huge. Quantum computers are big. They're multi-layered story buildings, very big. They're big boxes. It's not like we're going back to the original computers that you used to see a long time ago. So quantum computing, but the biology, our body is found as something, a subway system bypassing that system. A subway, nature found its own subway system to really execute the quantum process called quantum tunneling. So we exhibit some quantum processes in our bodies. I'm going to tell you about that. It's called a plants, photoelectrics. That's just the plants take sun's light and then produces the vegetables for us. So there's a photosynthesis that is high tech. It does use a quantum process. It uses a quantum computing. It uses quantum computing. In fact, plants use a quantum computing to high tech science. It uses. It's the dumb plants, you think, but they use a lot of powerful quantum computing process. It does. But let me talk about quantum breathing. When you're so carbonic acid to the role of enzymes, I want to tell you, particularly in the blood pressure medications, the ACE inhibitors, they use enzymes. The reason is if you do not have an enzyme, the carbonic acid, only we can throw it out, the carbon dioxide 0.1 per second, molecule per second, it will throw it out. That's not enough. We'll be dead in a short period of time. What the enzymes do is that helps accelerate the catalyst. It becomes a catalyst and accelerate the process. It takes the 100,000 enzymes, 100,000 carbon dioxide molecules, it pushes out per second. That's why we can live. So this is the enzyme chemistry was done by Judith Kleinman from UC Berkeley. She did, and she was honored at the White House by President Obama. So ACE inhibitors were born out of this chemistry. We use a lot of ACE inhibitors. Everybody knows about it. It's an enzymes basically. It's a quantum breathing we do. It helps the quantum breathing. So quantum technology, I call it quantum quantum breathing. The next one is quantum psi. Quantum coherence is very interesting. It is still in the photoelectric effect. It's similar to when the light falls on our eyes. It becomes electric. The rhodospin molecule takes that and it converts them into the electrical signals. That's what it does. But what he does is what they found out is solar battery works on a similar concept, but our eyes are much more efficient, 100% efficient than the solar battery. They couldn't understand why. So once they started doing the research, they found out amazing thing. What it does is when the photon falls on our retina, it becomes splits into the ghost mouse, like a ghost photons, and becomes a multiple photons, travel all the possible paths to the visual cortex, and then and pick up the shortest distance and come back in time and fix that distance. That's what they're finding out is the quantum side. We're using a quantum system in our brain, without knowing it. So the next one is the quantum smell. We have our nose is only 400 receptors we can smell between the we can distinguish only supposed to be 400 smells, but we can distinguish almost 10,000 smells. The people they settled the difference between North Italian wine and Southern Italian wine is very subtle, but it can find out. We can distinguish. A lot of people can distinguish. I cannot, but some people can do. So you can do that because the quantum tunneling, quantum tunneling happens in our body, that the molecules from this rotational vibration spectrum uses, and quantum tunneling happens. That's where we can distinguish with a limited number of. It's not a chemistry anymore. It is a quantum phenomena that we find out the smells of the differences. The next one. So nature is not a classical, damn it. That's what Richard Feynman said. It is absolutely Richard Feynman is right. Nature is not a classical, is a quantum, is a divine, is kind of a strange. I don't want to use a divinity here, but if something interesting happens, mysterious things, that is a quantum physics. Still, we don't understand the complete history, the process of it, but still, it is it's playing a role in the field of medicine. And then you can see that Supriya is using what do you call artificial intelligence to teach their students and everybody, or people who are participating in their lunch. Supriya, so what do you think of is a new kind of a technology is coming up?
Yeah, there's a lot of, we're already seeing the adoption of AI in radiology, right, around the imaging and interpretations to be able to expedite, the reading of the radiologic images. They've already started introducing AI, machine learning, and natural language processing in all those nurse chatbots and, virtual health bots that all these platforms have. So there's a lot of adoption already in this sector.
The little kids are bothering you in the behind the scene. Yeah, that's a mom role. Don't worry, that's a part of being a mom. If you want to pick him up, please do that. You're free to
That's
do
fine.
that.
I'm fine.
So Supriya, so what is your company? What do you do there, and what is that? How you are helping people? What is the name of the site? What is your
Yeah, the
website?
site is called, so it's VDO Solutions, and the site is called VDOSolutionsNY.com. There's a contact us form there, so people can just go and fill out the form. My contact information is on the website as well. Once they fill out the form or reach out, then we will conduct a free consulting call where we provide a 60 minutes of free consultation to see if there's any synergies, are we able to really help them? And if that is there, then we work with them to kind of identify the next steps. We do provide subsidized toolkits around, managing project management, some of the study protocols, access to our content, a lot of content, a lot of SOPs, which help, our founders find really helpful. They're almost like ready to plug and play type of tools and techniques, as well as frameworks and best practices. So then they can start using them, and we coach them through the whole process.
What is the site again? What is the web address?
It's VDOsolutions.com.
VDOsolutions.com. You're a dentist, you're running a cardiology practice and a super mom, and listening to the young ones bothering you. That is really, it's truly a privilege to talk with you, Supriya. It's an honor to talk with you. Thank you so much.
No, thank you. And the presentation, I'm still like dumbfounded. I learned so much in this one presentation that I've not learned from many resources. So thank you for sharing that with us today.
Thank you so much. Thank you all. Good night. And
thank you.
We are retelling their stories through our patented designs that can be worn on scrubs, t-shirts, printed on conference bags, and endless other promotional materials. Daily Wear for Medicine is the first ever of its kind to create curiosity in medicine through visual art. We at MedBricks are celebrating unsung heroes of the past who made enormous contributions to the field of medicine through our unique campaign called Daily Wear for Medicine. You can wear it, carry it, and give it.